After the pain of watching the Great War, when they sacrificed their cavalry, put their artillery in the front lines, and just flat out sucked in the war. This coming from supposed geniuses and battle-hardened warriors tacticians who should know exactly what they're doing. We now get this. Another episode of predictabilities and cliches with showing that the writers are just kind of giving up at this point. I mean, come on, you guys are better than this. So in this episode, I'm going to dive in and talk about all the things that I found was wrong with this episode. First and foremost was the biggest stinker of the whole episode was this scene right here. This was the worst possible way to kill the dragon. Alec, you had the perfect opportunity right here to kill the dragon. Back in the former episode, when they swarmed the dragon here, you could have killed it. It was a kind of lame way. I talked about this in the last episode. This was dumb. The dragon could have blasted fire and flew away. But still, it would have been a better way. Have them climb in the mouth and rip the dragon apart from the inside. Better than that scene that we have here. So much was wrong with this. Like, first off, they're so high in the air flying around. How did she or two dragons not see this fleet hiding right behind here? They're so high they can't hide behind the mountains. I can see why the ships on the sailing didn't see them, but she could have easily saw the whole landscape. She could have seen them. Next, to fly in and charge them like this. The poorest mistake, but you already committed to it, so go. Don't do what she does here, and she broadsides herself. Big hunting term, makes herself an easy prey. When she pulls back and broadsides, make herself a bigger and easier target to hit. So one of these should have hit after they just pierced that dragon with 3 shots easily. And now she makes herself a bigger, easier target. And again, then she just flies away. She could have shot in Dragon's Breath, and we've seen how powerful it is. It would have ripped through those spikes. They wouldn't have even hit the dragon. She could have blasted her way through and made it to them. Or circled around back. The ships, they can't turn around. They're so, they can't just easily maneuver, and the pikes are on the gallow, so they don't have them on the rear. So she could have easily went, looped behind them, and taken out the entire fleet, but she runs away and leaves after charging them. It's not even like the first time we've seen these pikes. They've encountered them before when they've been shot at by it, and you've seen the dragon get hit with it, and it damages it, but the dragon's easily able to, well, not easily, but it does able to recuperate from the shot and able to come back at it. And they've seen these shots before, they knew about them. So here's an idea. While making all the dragon glass weapons, why not go and arm your best weapon and make some dragon armor? I mean, you've seen that they are vulnerable. The Night King already killed the dragon for his army, and then both the dragons that they had left almost died multiple times during the Great War. Body armor would have been helpful if they had any kind of like dragon glass armor for the dragon, keeping it safe during that war, and it would have kept it alive and blocked that spear attack that came at it. However, we do see now that armor isn't as strong as it used to be. Back in Season 1, when Jorah was able to take on Dothraki and able to catch the sword into his armor and kill him by using his armor, and it actually worked like armor should. Instead, now later on we get where he just gets a small stick, stabs right through his armor and takes him out. The Sea Fleet wasn't even a surprise. They weren't going in blind. They knew that this guy teamed up with Cersei and that he owned the fleet of the seas, and they knew what they were going into. They were going into battle here. So they shouldn't have been surprise attacked like they were. I mean, surely he had the advantage into that nook, but they should have been more prepared. Plus, when you see them start getting attacked, how do they not have any defenses? They're going into war with battleships, yeah, and they have no defenses, no offensive, and look at how powerful. When did these pikes become cannons? Or when did the ships turn into balsa wood? Because these pikes are way too powerful. They're like cannons ripping through the ship, just ripping it to shreds. And we've seen this before when the ancient pike cannon was first introduced and Bronn shot the Dothraki. You see, he hits him and it smacks into the wood, and it doesn't go and destroy it like the power that it has later on. But now we watch it just rip through these ships like they're paper, like a cannonball would, just completely ripping the boats apart now. Plus, are we starting to see an early look at the Mad Queen? That's definitely the look of a Mad Queen. We're seeing the change in Daenerys. It's how she went from trying to become the breaker of chains and all of her titles and becoming good, and now all she cares about is getting on the throne. That she's even going out of her way to destroy people, innocent lives that she swore to protect and save and not become, and now she's making her way into the Mad Queen era reign. So I feel like we all know where the show is going to be going and ending. I'm pretty sure I missed a few things, but this was just my little rant session on this episode. I'm pretty sure if you check out next week, I'm going to have another episode, judging on by the way that the show is going. Plus, we only have 2 more episodes, and last week's going to be probably the final war. So if you liked what I talked about, you thought that you agree with what I said about here, like and comment, subscribe, check out my next week's video or my last week's video if you haven't seen that one yet, and be sure to check out my other stuff. Thank you.